Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Brad Hughes, CEO and founder of Vision Dental Partners. In this podcast, we're going to hit some amazing topics from acquisition to practice acceleration and growth, and some strategies around that. And my favorite topic, which is create and grow your brand.
orthomarketing.com, 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.
Well, hello, everybody out there in podcast land. This is Dean Steinman from Ortho Marketing. And guess what? We are back with another awesome podcast for you. Now, I'm very psyched today. It's end of May 2025, and summer's right around the corner. As a Knick fan, tonight's a big game for us. So if any Knick fans are out there, and when you hear this, hopefully after the fact, we already won and we're in the finals. But tonight we're playing Game 5 of the Celtics. So fingers crossed there. Anyway, with get right to it. So I have a really stoked for my guest today. So I have with me today Dr. Brad Hughes, and Brad is the CEO and founder of really great organization, Vision Dental Partners. And we're here to talk a little bit about future of practices and acquisition and what's your end game and what you need to look at and to be educated. I'm sure you get emails all the time, guys out there. So it's how to sift through it and what to look for. So Brad, welcome, man. How are you today?
Hey, excited to be here, Dean. That intro and that introduction, now I'm even more fired up. So that was awesome.
There you go. Awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Glad I could light that fire, bro. Thanks. So, Brad, tell us a little bit about who is Dr. Brad Hughes.
Yeah. Been practicing dentist for 18 years, graduated from Indiana University in 2007, which from the dental school, which doesn't seem like it should have been that long ago, but now it's already been,
18 years.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. So time is flying. So I've been practicing for 18 years. Started out right outside of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I was at Hughes Dental Group in Leo, Indiana. Practiced with my dad for a couple of years there. Just kind of had a big entrepreneurial spirit. So we've, from 2019 on, we've acquired 8 more practices, and we're now a 9 practice group based out of South Carolina and Indiana. And just living that. We're in the thick of it. We're in the arena. We're figuring it out, and it's fun.
So I always ask this to our guests because so many doctors come on board and they decided to, I'm going to try the, entrepreneurial hat on instead of running a practice. So what was your aha moment to say, I'm going to do a little bit of a switcheroo here and take on this undertaking?
Yeah, I think it was pretty darn early on. I'm obsessed with the operations side, the marketing side. I like clinical dentistry. I love the operational, the community involvement, the marketing pieces, just kind of the game around how do we actually grow a business? How do we create a vision that team members align with? How do we build a practice that we can build local legends for our doctors in their community? I've been obsessed with that literally probably since my second or third week in practice. I was in our practice there with my dad, and very early on, it's like, hey, I think we can quickly double the size of this practice. And he's like, okay, well, I got one foot basically half out the door, so go do what you want to do. And so we just started kind of taking that piece, but it was really probably 2011, 2012, 2013, where it was like, I'm not moving at the pace I would like to. What's the problem here? And I had to look myself in the mirror and probably have about 4 other people tell me the problem was me. And so we kind of took a bit of a mindset journey. I needed to get a little bit more in an abundance mindset. I needed to figure some things out, and made a promise to myself, hey, I will go acquire a second practice after I triple my first practice. And we were doing fine.
Nice.
By most people's account, we were doing, it was a good practice. It was very profitable. I probably, it would have been easier just to have said, let's just keep moving with this thing. But we went out, tripled it, and probably around 2016, 2017, and then in 2019, opportunity came along. And so we acquired another practice, and we've just kind of gone from there.
So, as a dentist, you probably have two hats on. One, obviously, pretend you don't even have your company now. And you have your dentist hat, and you're not looking at Vision Dental. You're at Dr. Hughes Dental.
Yep.
You probably get two, three, four, five, six emails a day from potential people who want to acquire you, merge, etc. So, hey, what goes through your mind as a dentist is like, oh, another one of these, or are people, or as you're looking at an exit strategy from day one? Because I get these emails all the time as well. We're looking for, but you're looking to sell your agency, you want to sell your agency, and no, 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 no. But every
Yeah.
once in a while, something does go through and you talk, and obviously I'm not ready to sell it yet. But you know, why would you think somebody would even think about going the route of a partner like you?
Well, I think there's you know I- let's go back. Like I'll take that one step further, and I'll say I think it's the same reasons that when we do acquisitions, I'm looking for good core value fits. Like we did an acquisition with a great doctor, Randy Stoffer, up in Elkhart, Indiana. We closed on that practice March 1st, and he's just such a good dude. And he
Right.
came to me and he's like, he's 55, 56 years old. He's like, I've done the same numbers for the last 5 years. I'm tired of just being complacent in that number. I
Oh,
need help to get to the next level. And I think you're the dude to help get me there.
nice.
And as
Okay.
we sat around and talked for about 2 hours, when we got done, he had tears in his eyes and he's like, I'm ready for that. I'm ready for this. And I think to answer your question, it would be because I want to feel that same way when somebody comes to me when I run out of runway and I can't go to a bank anymore and continue on our path and we want to bring on a strategic partner. I want to sit down and have that conversation and feel that exact same way because they hit every key point and we align from a core value standpoint, we align from a future growth standpoint, because that ultimately is how business deals work.
Right.
I've done one deal that did not work out very well, and it's because I should have seen the red flags during some of the due diligence. I probably just skipped over them because I wanted to do the deal. But core value alignment is everything. And so when somebody comes to us and says, "Look, I love the personal brand that you're building, Dr. Hughes. I love the brand that you guys have at Vision Dental Partners. I love the transparency. I love the fact that you guys talk about the things that you've screwed up. I love the fact that you talk about the things that you've done really well." That's who we're looking for in a strategic, is that we want to invest in you guys and help you take that next 2 to 3x jump. And I want to leave that meeting going, I'm fired up. Let's go do it. And I think that's what separates us, because at the end of the day, like I kind of laugh because there's so many groups or practices out there who are like, you know, we're disrupting the space and we're doing things different than everybody else. Bullshit. You're not. We're all doing the same freaking thing. The only thing that separates us from everybody else is brand. And everybody's got their own brand. And I just want, when somebody comes to us to acquire us, it's not like, hey, are you looking to exit, make some money? I'm not. I
Right.
will eventually be looking for a strategic partner who likes our brand and who aligns with that. And that'll be the most important thing. And it's the same thing that we look for in acquisitions ourselves.
Love that. When I first get on with the practice and they come to me to help them with the marketing, the first thing I ask them is, what makes you different? What's your differentiator? And 99% of the practice have no clue what that means,
Yep.
and they're like, "Well, we give great service. We're a family business.
Yep.
We have the best technology." Well, my response to that is, you better, and you better. That's not a differentiator. That's a necessity.
Yep.
You know, So from your perspective, what would you say is a disruptor or a differentiator for a dental practice? When it says branding, it's not just a logo, it's positioning, it's your message, it's where you fit in the community because you're part of a community.
Yep.
So, what would you say are the two most important factors in making a practice stand out?
I'll give you a great example. So my dad started my original practice I was in Hughes Dental Group in Leo, Indiana in 1980. So he graduated from Indiana University Dental School in 1980. He graduated in May. Started that practice in August of 1980. Has not seen a patient since 2009 in that office. And we have 8 locations in Indiana. I'm the lone soldier down here in South Carolina. So I still travel 800 miles up there. I do a lot of associate coaching. I still go up and run meetings, do all of the things up there. And I can go into that practice, and there's still a lot of patients that have been coming in since 1986. And they will still, to this day, here we are, 16 years later, and they say, "What's going on with your dad? How's your dad? Is your dad still playing a lot of golf? Is your dad still into fishing?" That man is an incredible local legend in that community. And it's not because he was a dentist. It was because he had positioned himself as a likable human being, and he just built a massive brand in that community. And that's the differentiator. It had nothing to do with a Google ad. It had nothing to do with a direct mail piece. It had nothing to do with any type of marketing. It was just that he over delivered to the patients that came in for a long time, but they just liked who he was authentically. And that doesn't mean that everybody liked him, but the people who had commonality and similarity with him and still come in that office 30 years later, that is how you differentiate yourself. Not everybody's going to like me that comes in my office, but the ones that do, and I can build brand with, and they trust me before they ever come in because they've seen social media posts that I put out or whatever. And these are patients that stay, pay, and refer to me at a very high level. They come in because of my brand, not because of my crown preps or my root canal or any other reason. They just come in because they align with me. Otherwise, they would go to any number of, there's 30 dentists in Bluffton, South Carolina they could go to.
Love that. I could talk marketing all day long with you. I love, marketing is a differentiator, guys. Plain and simple. If you do not market yourself, you will not succeed in 2025 and plus. You will not. Plain and simple. If you don't invest money in your practice from a marketing advertising perspective, you will fail. Plain 100%.
And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. So many think that they market technology, and they need to market themselves.
Right.
Themselves are the thing that people want to come see. If you think a CBCT is going to drive people to your practice, like get the hell over it. That ain't it.
Right.
That, like, they don't know. They think everybody has that. And, I've had a CBCT in my practice for 10 years. I've never had one patient coming up, "I'm here because you have a CBCT." Right. No, they're here because, hey, my neighbors come to you and they really like you. And I'm like, awesome.
That's the key. And from one step further, when it is taking your brand and positioning it out there, you could crow to the cows come home how great you are. But if your patients are the ones who do it, that's where the differentiator is they need to tell everybody how great you are and spread the word to all their friends on social media. Somebody comes into your office and you were a game changer and you made their teeth whiter and they hated their teeth before or straighter or what have you. They want to tell you're in the smile business. You want to basically share the wealth, share the happiness, and let them share it and tell everybody how great it is. But the biggest pull that I see is their doctors don't know how to ask and they're afraid. And you have to have that in place. So this podcast is sponsored by orthomarketing.com. Hey, you an orthodontist or dentist looking to give your practice the competitive edge it deserves? Well, look no further than Ortho Marketing. Ortho Marketing is the dentist and orthodontist choice for digital marketing. At Ortho Marketing, we specialize in helping orthodontists and dentists just like you attract more new patients. Our team of experts knows the ins and outs of the dental and orthodontic industry, and we're here to help your practice shine. We're going to supercharge your online presence. We're going to optimize your website. We're going to harness the power of social media to connect you with the patients that you want. Say goodbye to empty chairs and say hello to a thriving practice. Choose Ortho Marketing today and watch your patient list grow. Visit orthomarketing.com and learn more and take the first steps towards your practice success. Ortho Marketing. It's not just our name, it's what we do. What one bit of advice would you give to a practice to help them scale successfully their marketing? If they could do today, what's one thing somebody could do today?
I would take a multi-prong approach. There's a time and a place for Google ads. Like, I think, don't just waste money. Like, track the data, know what you're getting, know what you're not getting. if something's working, throw a little bit more money at it, continue it to work. You're going to get, there's going to be some patients. Like it's an attention game, right? So
Right.
how many eyeballs can you get on? You're going to get a certain amount on from Google. The second piece of that is I would say that there are a lot who are not comfortable in front of a camera.
Right.
Get damn comfortable in front of a camera and start posting on different platforms, because people and their attention is right here.
That's it.
And if you're on Facebook, Instagram at a certain level, if you want to be on TikTok, you just got to you've got to create some good content. People need to know who you are as a dentist, just really not even as a dentist. They just need to know who
Person.
you are
Right.
as a human
Mhm.
being. They want to know whether you like, I post content all the time about how I like F1 racing. I'm a private pilot. I don't eat a lot of bread. I've got twin daughters that are into XYZ,
Right.
and they come in and that's what they're talking about. It has nothing to do with dentistry. They're like, oh my God, like, if you like F1 racing, you probably like, this is, and you're from Indiana. Do you like IndyCar racing? Cause it's Indy 500 month in Indiana. Like, do you like that? That's the stuff they come in talking to me about, not dental stuff. And
Right.
that's how you build relationships and you move people to yes. And at the end of the day, we're just trying to positively influence patients to say yes to things that they need. That's the game. So just,
Right.
even if you suck at it, like there are plenty of days I create content, I'm not that good. And then there's other days I'm pretty good at it. And I've been doing
Right.
it for a little while. So like just start, and you've got to focus on
Right.
building brand. Dentistry is becoming so commoditized in the
Okay.
ortho
Right.
space, in the general dental space, in the oral surgery space, in every space, it's becoming about price, and we need to make it about brand. And that is a massive game changer.
Perfect segue to the next thing. So price. You know, ideally, price should never be an issue. If you get somebody in your chair as for a new patient perspective, you have really no excuse for letting them leave. Okay. So, what's one bit of advice that you could come to somebody when it comes to price, because you might be a little bit higher than somebody down the block? So, how would you give somebody and it takes a very unique person to be able to overcome certain objections and do sales.
Mhm.
So, somebody sits in your chair and they're looking to do implants, veneers, lemons, whatever it is, and well, you're at $2,000 more than the guy down the block for it. How do you respond?
Um, well, yeah, everybody has objections. I mean, you
Right.
and I, if we go anywhere, right? Like I'm probably the worst. I don't go to a lot of medical appointments, but like I know when I've gone to the chiropractor, they're always like, "Well, we want to take some X-rays." I'm like, "Nah, don't worry
Right.
about it. Like, just do what you need to do. Let's
Right.
just get moving here. Like, I ain't got a lot of time." So, like, I'm one of those bad patients. Like, if they would if one of these chiropractors would just explain to me the reason, like, let's just take the damn X-ray one time, Hughes. This is why you need it. But it's always just like, so. My objection usually is time. If they're like, "Look, it's going to take 30 seconds," I'd be like, "Fine."
Right.
So, like the objections, whether it's budget, time, maybe they're fearful. Trust can be an objection that you have to overcome. So, but first, you got to understand what the patient values. Number one, do they value function? Do they value longevity? Do they value comfort? Do they value cosmetic? It's usually one of those four things. So, you've got to get on their level. And I see dentists and orthodontists all the time where it's like you're putting your own bias around what you think the patient should value. Like I was coaching on Wednesday of this week with one of our really good doctors in Indiana, and he kept talking to the patient like, I really think you need to, like, I really think you need to do this because I don't want to see you lose that tooth if it cracks in half. And I kept telling him like, but it's not about you don't want to see him. Flip it.
Them.
You got to make it so that, do you value longevity or function? Because if you lose that tooth, it's a first molar, 76% of your chewing efficiency. What is that going to do to function? And like most people don't want to lose what they have. So if it's not function, maybe it's longevity. Well, maybe they just want to do the thing that's going to help keep that tooth in their head the longest. So like you've got
Right.
to be able to meet them where they're at and understand that it's not about what you think, Dr. So and so, or what you value. It's what the patient values. So number one, you got to dive in and really understand what they value. Number two, then you got to be able to overcome the objection. And our teams can do that. In the general dental space, hygienists can do that. Front desk team members can work on those things. And sometimes as dentists, we have to be able to overcome them. But
Mm.
um, the main selling point is you got to understand if you're $2,000 more expensive, you got to tell them how much value you're going to create,
Right.
and then you gotta know what they value the most,
Right. Flip it around. Right.
and then from there that's
Like,
wildly influential. And
right.
at that point, yeah, they become less concerned about the money because now they know you're the one to do it.
The results, experience, and what they get out of it. What's
Yeah.
in it for them. I always tell people my favorite radio station is WIIFM. What's in it for me? So when you do marketing, it's not about you, doc. It's about them. So
Yes.
anything you push out, it's about the patient, not about you.
Yep.
Um, got two more questions for you, Brad. So, somebody is, we spoke about a guy that you came with the other day. You guy wanted the, perfect match for you, blah, blah, blah. So somebody's in their 50s now or 60s, and they're kind of just at the point now where they're thinking of doing the next exit or what have you. What are three questions that a, a dentist should ask a potential partner like you to see if it's a right fit from both sides? So I'm putting you back in the dentist chair. So you're getting contacted by by Vision Dental or by this or this DSO or this one or this group. What are three questions that they should be prepared to ask you? Because it's an interview both ways. So, what are three things that they should know about their next potential partner or ask them in order to feel comfortable?
I think number one, that they should always be asking me is how much can we grow in the first 24 months?
Okay.
If you really want to impress me, say 12. Like,
Okay.
that's because most practices that we've come across, that's always something I'm looking for, is like, is there upside in the first 12 months? But if they're thinking 12 to 24 months of growth, and if I've probably seen the data, if we're having a conversation at that level, I don't go into any acquisition unless I really feel like we can grow at least 25% in year one.
Well,
And
okay.
so if they kind of give you the, oh, that seems like a lot, okay, great, like, let's dive into why. We're gonna pull that lever, that lever, that lever, and it's actually really easy.
Right.
If that gets them excited, great. But I think it should be, because you can't just stay status quo. Like, that's not the objective. If you want to stay status quo, like, you really shouldn't be selling your product. I don't, like, you've probably waited too long at that point if you just want to stay status quo. Like, you should have sold earlier when you were still in a growth mindset. You're just not going to get the same value, in my opinion. So to me, that would be number one, is like, let's get excited about what we can do together. Number two, it's how do we grow new patients? Because I don't care if you're seeing 22 new patients, or we have a practice in Bloomington, Indiana, that averages over 112 new patients a month.
Well,
We should be able to grow both. If you're at 112, let's add 15 more a month. If you're at 22, let's go double it. And number three, um, I think the third question should be, how far are you looking to go before we bring on a strategic partner? Because I think that's a really important question.
right.
Because exit strategy, I don't care if you're a 28-year-old dentist or a 58-year-old dentist, it should be on your mind. How do we maximize ourselves financially? Because everybody wants to sit around and talk about EBITDA this and EBITDA that. Like, I'm much more concerned about cash flow than I am EBITDA.
Right.
It's become a fun, sexy term that dentists love to talk about, but everybody needs to be concerned about, what's the exit strategy. If you're 28 years old, it's that may morph. Like, my exit strategy now is way different than it was at 28, but I've always been thinking about it, and
Right.
I'm sure it'll be different 5 years from now. But we have a very set plan in place to when and how and who we'll be looking for when that comes about. So I think they should be asking that question. What is the strategy to bring on a big strategic partner to help us go from where we are and keep this thing moving in the right direction? Because that's the point of joining a group, right? Is that
Right.
there should be financial gain. And that's one of the benefits of joining a group like us, is that we got a lot of runway. Like, there's a lot of upside. And I know that has really been an exciting thing for our partner doctors, is
Right.
let's go reach and sustain that upside. So I
Right.
think those are
Okay.
three pretty good questions.
Cool. All right. So now it's going to get time. Shameless plug. So let's talk a little bit about Vision Dental and what you do. And if anybody's listening and they're looking for a potential next partner, Floor's yours, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit of a DSO slash group slash DPO. Like we're a bit of a hybrid group where if you want to partner and still retain 40% equity in your group in your practice, great. I'm super open to that. If you want to sell 100% of the assets, but you want to work 5 to 10 more years, open to that too. And anything in between, I'm not completely like we've been successful in both of those models. We also want younger doctors to work for us for a short amount of time and then buy in at the practice level. One of our rock star dentists in Indiana, Dr. Blake Weil at New Haven Dental Center, just bought into his practice. We've got a few others that are doing the same. I want partners in this game. And so even if I'm acquiring a practice at 100%, we'll go find another doctor who can come in. We'll keep that doctor on, but go find another younger doctor that we can coach up and train up and become a partner. So, I'm the founder, but I'm still working 4 days a week. So I'm in the arena. I understand the challenges. We've got a phenomenal management team. We've got a fully baked out HR department to help with the issues in recruiting right now that we've done very well with. We've got a great operations team. Our marketing department with Lex is phenomenal, but we do a lot. I also have a 10-person production team. We have 8 full-time video editors. We have 2 content directors. I am big on organic social and building brand. And so if you want to be a local legend in your community, I've talked about my dad. I've done the same thing with myself. That's the objective for our doctors, is to become that damn local legend that just dominates their community. And the way that we do that is by getting attention on us, and that's through social. And these aren't platforms for 16-year-olds anymore. TikTok is not for dancing. Like,
Right.
this is real world stuff, and it works. And that's our group. We've done well. We'd like to add another probably 3 to 4 practices over the next 12 months. I think we're fully equipped for that from a management team standpoint. And I think overall we do a pretty damn good job.
Awesome. All right, 2 final questions. One, so I'm giving you 2 gifts. First gift is you get to go back in time 15 years ago. What's one thing you're telling Brad, looking in the mirror, and you're saying, what advice are you giving yourself?
Yeah, 15 years ago. So I would have been turning 30. So I'll be 45 here in just a couple of weeks. I think the first thing would be a big one that I coach and preach a lot is get over the ego of doctor title.
Right.
Patients, you're not moving patients to yes and being influential because you have a title or because I have letters behind my name. You're doing it because of who you are and the words that you say and your body language. And I think when you go into when you talk about case acceptance and you think they're doing things because you're a doctor, I think it's more manipulative than it is influential. And so from a team standpoint, I think I would have been a better leader 15 years ago had I dropped some of that ego. And I think I would have grown my first practice faster had I figured out that I was the frickin' problem. And so I think that's where I would start.
Cool. All right. And now I have my second gift for you. I'm giving you the ability to have dinner with anybody in history. Who you meet? Who you hanging with?
Uh, this will be, if I could have dinner with anybody in history, um, such a good question. I would go back. I would have dinner with a 40-year-old Bobby Knight.
Hmm. Okay.
Bobby
Interesting.
Knight, growing up in Indiana, in the
Legend.
80s and
Right.
90s. I mean, the guy was
Legend.
our god. Indiana
Right.
basketball was our religion. Every kid in Indiana, like, if people think you don't grow up in Indiana, or at least then dreaming of playing basketball for Indiana University and Bobby Knight and all the
Right.
things that we did, and at least I certainly did, and it was a religion in our community and in our family, and I would love to have a conversation with Bobby Knight in his prime, just because the no nonsense, no bullshit
The general. Right.
level of execution.
Right.
I mean, find me someone who was better at it. And just about life, sport, just anything. I think
Very cool.
it'd be an unbelievable conversation. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. What's the first thing you're gonna ask him then?
Um, the level of execution. How do you continuously, every single day, consistently demand the level of execution that you do?
Hmm.
Because I think that's
Scares,
hard. I think it's
scares the hell out of
really
everybody. That's how it scares the hell out of
well.
them.
I think that there was an element of, he was kind of an intimidating guy. I mean, he was, but I think, you look at those teams in the 70s, early 80s, late 80s, and 87 with Alford and Keith Smart, the early 90s with Calbert Chaney and Greg Graham and Al Harris. Like those guys they were just so good. They were so competitive, and they just pumped out so many kids that, they went to class, they did things the right way. He just demanded a level of execution that, and they loved him for it. He just could marry the two so well, and it just pretty phenomenal stuff.
Right. Still, that he's the last coach to go undefeated in a season, and it's almost 50 years, and nobody's done it since. So that's one
Yep.
incredible milestone there for sure. Think about it. How many teams have been played college basketball in the last 50 years, and nobody has gone undefeated since
Yep.
then. So pretty spectacular.
1976.
Cool, right? All right, Brad Hughes. Somebody wants to learn more about you, talk to you, say what's up, just learn more information. What's the best way for somebody to learn more about you, catch up
Yeah,
with you?
really two ways. Find me on LinkedIn, Brad Hughes, pretty easy. Send me a message, connect with me. Email, it's bdhughesdds@gmail.com. Either way is pretty easy to reach me, and I'm pretty damn responsive. So
Nice,
reach
good.
out.
Well, cool. Hey, Brad. Well, thanks so much for joining. I appreciate it. This was awesome time. I really appreciate it. Real insightful. And guys, think about it. If you're at the point of your career that you're just like, what am I going to do next? And you get complacent, or you just want to see what's in the future, reach out to Brad. Follow him. He's a real smart guy. He's got great content out there, and it might be something that, listen, nothing venture, nothing gain. So give it a shot. Everybody at Podcast Land, thanks so much for listening. Be happy, smile, and once again, let's go Knicks.
orthomarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.